All right, more top stories coming right here on the program. Now from one part of the African continent to another, but this time it's in Nigeria, where the GSM operators have shut down their base stations in Zamfara state in line with the directive of the Nigerian Communications Commission over the weekend that all telecom sites in the state be shut down due to the pervading security situation.
Now, a leaked memo signed by the Executive Vice Chairman of the NCC, that's Professor Umar Dambata, and addressed it to one of the telecom operators on Friday, stated that the immediate shutdown of all telecommunication services had become necessary due to the insecurity in the state. Now, the memo partly read, as you can see on, we'll show you on your screen, there, that following the issues in line with security requirements, and also we mentioned telecoms, that they will be shutting down all base stations in this state, and they're looking
and it says that the site shutdown is for 2 weeks, starting from the 3rd of September to the 17th of September in the first instance. Now, your urgent action in this regard is required. That is what you're seeing from NCC. That is the Nigerian Communications Commission came out to give that directive in Zamfara state. Now, this does not just include Zamfara, it includes any telecom site that will give telecommunications activity in Zamfara state. It says here that you're aware of the security challenges that Zamfara state has been grappling with for over a decade now. Now, in consideration of the primacy of security as the topmost objective of the state, my administration has, right from day one, decided to tackle the challenges head on, exploring all available and workable options.
All right, so that's another statement from the governor of Zamfara's office. Now, joining us to discuss this development situation, Abuja-based correspondent Amadin joins us this morning, regular on breakfast. We also have Security Expert Senator Iroegbu this morning joining us. Gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to Breakfast Central.
Now, gentlemen, what benefit is shutting down of base stations to residents of Zamfara state? I will start with you, Amadin.
Oluchi, it's a very difficult situation because yesterday morning, one of the regional managers managing one of these telecommunication services called me because he was told that I would have information on the events ongoing in Zamfara. And he was hysterical. He was scared. He said he had so many staff in Zamfara who, as it is now, there's a total blackout. And he's thinking of how to evacuate them. That was just one person. Imagine others who live there, who rely on GSM. You know, communication has become a way of life. So the move might have been instigated by the need to go after these bandits. But was there consultation done? What is the mood of the people? Because I know how it is when you cannot communicate. 2015, 2014, when I was moving from Biu to Damboa and to Chibok, covering the kidnap crisis, following efforts. The moment we left Biu in Borno State, we were shut out because the telecommunication mast had been destroyed. En route for about 3 or 4 days, I spent within that axis. I had no access to communicating with the outside world. I knew how difficult it was, even for me as a journalist, because at that point, you tell yourself that you are alone on your own. But the irony about it is that these bandits, intelligence reports say that they don't even rely 100% on the telecommunication networks and Nigerian telecommunication system. A lot of them have satellite phones, so they can still communicate with one another. But some are saying that that move is prompted by the decision because maybe the security agencies feel their mold within their setup who inform these bandits and these criminal elements of any ongoing security situation. But the fear is that we are hoping rather that in all, after this operation, that the residents of that axis, the Northwest, that their lives will return back to normal, because communication over the years has been a way of life, and it's going to be very, very difficult for them.
All right, Mr. Iroegbu, we're coming to you right now. As a security expert, Zamfara State has over 200 base stations, and shutting them down means that communication between the assailants will be impossible, even within persons living in the communities. Now, how impactful do you think this will be in curbing the security problems in that state, shutting down base stations?
I know the security and intelligence agencies may have their reason for taking this decision, but I know we tried this in the past, but what was the result? Like Amadin cited, in Borno State, there was action that was taken to shut down. I think it lasted months, if not up to a year. Yet it didn't stop the activities of the insurgents. It continued, because what we end up is doing is punishing the populace, punishing business owners, putting them in the dark. Like Amadin cited, these bandits or terrorists, whatever name they are called, because for me they are terrorizing the populace. They don't totally rely on our normal GSM. They have satellite telecommunication system that they use that doesn't rely on our own system. Then they also use radio to communicate. Then thirdly, these communities are boundary states and communities. Sometimes the GSM network of neighboring states, let's say Niger in this instance, if it's in Borno State, you can mention Chad. Sometimes they use it across the boundary, even within those boundary areas in Nigeria to communicate. So whether it will really impact on the activities of these bandits or terrorists or whatever name they go, I don't think much. But where it may impact is the citizens themselves. And should there be a kidnap incident, how will the parents of this be able to reach them, or other negotiating parties that want to get the children freed? This is where the issues are. But I'm sure there may be some things the intelligence and security agencies know that we members of the public don't know, but I know we've tried this, and sometimes the way we react to an issue, we react, especially in the past, like I said, even before this administration, sometimes we react with a kind of Scotch egg reaction, like closing the borders, mandate everybody to go and register their SIM, which I don't know the benefit of the SIM registration now. If they cannot, if this, are you with me?
Yes, we are.
So after stressing us with those SIM registration exercises, first, it was late last year when everybody was celebrating their Christmas, and there was so much advice or instruction against excessive gathering because of COVID-19. You force everybody before December 31st, everyone must register their SIM. It created a lot of hoopla and pandemonium. Right. After that, you extended it, and even ban sale of SIM. And despite that, you're now.
We're still, we're in this state at this point in time. Now, Senator Iroegbu, I'll be coming back to you, but Amadin, this is something that is quite worrisome, especially noting that the latest kidnapping that happened, we recall the story of the 73 students of the government day secondary school in Kaya, just in less than 2 weeks were kidnapped. Now, it also forced the state government to close down all primary and secondary schools, also impose the curfew, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew, also came out with not selling fuel above 10,000 naira to some people, close down the weekly markets. How all of these measures have been put in place, but looking at the scenario of the 73 children that were kidnapped, how do you think these terrorists will communicate with the parents of the kidnapped children? Amadin.
I also want to quote what Senator said. Maybe the intelligence agencies have the reason why they have made this decision. Maybe that is one of the reasons why they made this decision to ensure that these bandits cannot communicate with the families. So when you kidnap students, you can't communicate to negotiate for ransom. You know kidnapping is the futile attempt. But the big question is, how many people have to suffer? Will you keep on doing this for all states that kidnapping have occurred? You know, I said it here last week when we talked about Zamfara. I said Zamfara is actually the epicenter. It started from Zamfara. From Zamfara, it escalated to states like Kaduna and other Katsina and other states in the northwest. Now, banditry started in Zamfara. In how many years have banditry have been ongoing? Why has government not been able to stop it? You see, I am one of those who believe that you can buy 100 Super Tucano jets. You can buy 100 Mi-35M gunship helicopters. But the truth about the matter is that if you don't change your strategy, that a few years ago, 2017 December, when the Nigerian army marched into Camp Zero, which is supposed to be the spiritual head of the Boko Haram terrorists, the Shekau faction, the Nigerian army pushed them out, which shows that our military have the capacity to engage these people. But the moment the Nigerian army pushed them out of Camp Zero, even at a point in time, tried to set up a shooting range within how many months, because those areas were not occupied. These terrorists moved back to those areas and continued their operation. Now, the problem has been ongoing in Zamfara. Has the federal government ever thought of a first responder mechanism? Because these terrorists, they will ride through people's farmlands. They ride through people's communities. They ride through people's villages to commit whatever act. And at that point in time, nobody stopped them. You saw the recent, I'm sure you must have heard about the recent report by Amnesty International, which has accused the federal government of leaving many communities to the peril of kidnappers and bandits.
Well, Amadin,
whoever has an AK-47 runs into these places and does whatever he wants to do without any presence of security personnel.
Amadin, that seems to be the case in many parts of the north west and also the north east indeed. But before we let you go, Senator Iroegbu, now that they're going to be shutting down over 200 base stations in Zamfara, clearly it's a case of throwing away the baby with the bathwater, because it's a clearly admission of failure security-wise in the state. Would you say quickly before we go?
Come again, you said?
Now that we're going to be shutting down all the base stations in Zamfara, it's a case of throwing away both the baby and the bathwater. So after this, are we going to see an end to all these problems in Zamfara, do you think?
I don't think so, unfortunately, but I don't want to be a prophet of doom, but I hope it will. But with experience we've had in the past, which I've cited, it's not the solution. This is just a knee-jerk reaction to me.
All right.
I don't want to say don't know what they are doing, but from my own observation, if they don't follow it up with other measures, may not achieve the result.
All right, thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time. Once again, Abuja correspondent Amadin and Senator Iroegbu, a security expert, coming on Breakfast Central this morning.